first movie was just not anything that I was really thinking about. And in March 2020, we all remember kind of what happened. And George Floyd and Hollywood came to a standstill, and the offers got really good. So we said yes.
And you've assembled such an incredible team of people sort of across this film. I mean, I've written down just a few people that you work with on this: Arthur Jafer, River Jackson, Garrett Bradley, Christina Sharp, Sadia Hartman. How do you assemble such an incredible team, and what was your collaboration process like? Onye, I don't know if you want to speak to this as well.
Sure, I think, I mean, a lot of these people are friends, you know. When we were at the Underground Museum in Los Angeles, a lot of folks came through there, and that's how we really like built relationships. But everyone was just absolutely talented. I think a big part of our work is like the archive, and part of that archive is something that I'm sure a lot of you filmmakers are doing out there. It's just really documenting your lives and just like how important that is, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. And so really getting the opportunity to work with people like Grace Rose Bonner and, you know, Sampha in the crowd. It's just, you know, these are all our collaborators, and we just have to use this opportunity to just highlight them, and it's really great.
And in terms of some of the archive material that you used, what was that research process like? How did you select, like, back at it again at Krispy Kreme versus you know, a different kind of piece of crucial black vine?
Yeah, the editing process, you can imagine, was intense. When I say I approach this project like an album, one of the things I think that archival helped us serve was thinking about archival as like sampling and not so much like documentary use of archival, which is more straightforward. And Black News had amassed, I mean, we have our own, what we say, our own internal Google. It's like this massive server that we've just been archiving stuff since 2018. So when the movie happened, we had already created a protocol on how to engage the archive. We knew where a lot of records were, you know, the funny ones, the interviews. We knew our record collection. I'll say that. So that's how the editors and myself included.
And before I open it up to the audience, kind of going on from that, the way that, you know, like media making is happening these days, things are moving so quickly. I'm sure there's things that have happened since you premiered the film that you're like, oh, that would have been great to include. Can you name anything that you're like, oh, I wish that made it in?
One thing, in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore has been just lighting shit up, and we put him, and there's a new cut of the film that we've been mastering for months since Sundance. That will be the cut that's actually released in public. So you guys have been watching like original cut, like
Ever evolving.
yeah, well, not ever, but soon to be finished. So Ibrahim Traore is the only real like damn, but he's in the new cut.
And other than that, like, that's it, it's done now.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions in the audience? We've got some mics. We'll start with the front on my left. Sorry, just all the way down front here.
Thank you guys for sticking around too, man. It's such a
I know y'all still here.
it's kind of surreal to be sharing this film after so long.
Hey, my name's Emmanuel, and I'm a journalist myself. So I think it's interesting to see like some of them from a journalist or storytelling. But I've got a few questions which I wonder if you guys considered when like creating a film. So like for example, there was a lot of like biblical reference, right? And when we look at like how critical people look at Christianity within the film industry and with critical thinking, we fail to like look at how in the Bible, so for example, like in the book of Acts, right, they talk about how like there was an Enoch, and he was there was a man that was castrated, and he was preached to, and he was actually a black man, and he went and like gave the he was preached to, he was baptized, he was was like evangelized to by Philip, who was like who was one of like the teachers back in the day. And from there, he went and spread the religion of Christianity to the whole of Ethiopia, and they've been Christian since the 3rd generation. Then when you look, for example, as well, like biblical scripture where it says, I think in Proverbs, it says, don't envy not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways, as the perverse person is abomination to the Lord. But the righteous is the one that he gives counsel. And also when we look at like places within like Nigeria, West Africa, and Africa as a whole, even traditional religions are things that they're rejecting because they know the spiritual implications of that, of practicing that. So when I say this all to say that like Christianity gets a very bad rep when we look at it within the film industry and like obviously in critical thinking, but there's actually implications when you like sow tares within like film and just critical thinking as a whole. So I'm trying to say, like, did you actually think of the actual other side of the debate, of the discussion of the benefits of Christianity, and not solely due to like the Black African American experience? Because oftentimes when we look at like Christianity, how you guys portray it, there's no actual consideration of those in Africa that are actually running away from traditional religions. So that's just a question. Does that make sense?
No, what's the question?
So I'm basically defending Christianity in the sense that like there's another side of the discussion where
I was going to try and paraphrase. I think the question was, did you consider portraying Christianity
in a good light, because there's like a whole nother story.
Okay, let's
So basically, I'm saying, I run it up in 3 seconds. So in the book, in the book of Acts.
I think I got it.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
I think, if you can give the mic to Margaret, thank you. Yeah, so you go to
I lived in Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria. My people are Igbo. We have Christianity. We have our traditional, religion. We dabble in both. I think that faith is beautiful. And if you find faith in Christianity, that is your way, Did we explore that? No. Why? Because it is explored. It has been explored. It has been turned over. Do people talk about issue? No. So that's what we're talking about. It's just like we want to bring thoughts to the forefront that people are not talking about. So you'll find your, what you're looking for in other films and other ways, but for us, no, we didn't. Thanks for the question.
We also have some collaborators in the house, I believe. I know.
Yeah, actually, I was wondering, is Amma still here? I would love someone to bring the mic to Amma, because Amma is our producer in Ghana, in Accra, along with Kweku Boateng, and they absolutely killed it. We brought crew from America, from Europe, to Accra, and they just made our production so seamless. And I will say it's like one of my favorite places to shoot. So Amma, if you just, I don't even know what the question is, but just tell us just a little bit about the production in Accra and just how amazing it is to shoot there as filmmakers.
Okay, hi everybody, I'm a caregiver. This is my first time watching this film, and I will say making this film for me was like a family experience. A bunch of, African Americans, different people, white, you name it, coming together, for a lot of them to Ghana for the first time. And it was when COVID was one thing, when the Ghana pop, when COVID was happening. And it was literally became a family. It was like a family experience. I mean, there was so much I personally learned about even the relationship between Kwame Nkrumah and Du Bois, because I didn't know that. There was so much things, somebody who I'm Ghanaian, British Ghanaian, and it was, but I think besides everything, it was a truly magical experience. I just remember, being all these different people from around the world, and it was beyond the filmmaking. It wasn't just filmmaking, it was literally like we're family. It doesn't matter if you were British, you were African American, you were from Ghana, you were from Nigeria. And for those what was it like almost a month or what, a few weeks we were there. It was beyond filmmaking, and I think for me that is what I liked. I think for Kahlil too, there's so much collaborators in this film, and they made sure that everybody felt seen. There was no small people. There was no, everybody was equally as important. I want to thank you guys for doing that, and open up your film for so many of us to be a part of that. So thank you, and God bless
Thank
you
you.
guys.
You also played video
They actually play from there, so which is kind of like.
Also, to speak to that, thank you very much. Grace Wells Bonner, who I think is here, she may not be here. Grace, are you here? She probably won't say anything. Yes, hi Grace. She came down, if you guys don't know, she's an incredible artist and designer. She came down to Ghana to hang out, essentially. And we had hired a costume designer, Ivy Kamara, who's also British. And Virgil had passed away, I think, on our flight on the way down there, and IB and Virgil were very close, and so IB unfortunately kind of get pulled away into that world, and we were kind of, obviously understanding, but we were also left without a costume designer, and so returning to Grace and saying, hey, I know you're just hanging out, but do you mind helping support us in that realm? And I wasn't directing. Garrett Bradley was directing the Ghana portion, and Grace was so kind and so brilliant and so generous. And I remember seeing her, literally with a sewing machine, like making Du Bois' outfit, and so she got credit, but also it spoke to the community and her generosity and brilliance. So that made it fun.
So we've not got long left. I want to try and get a couple more questions in, so if you can keep your questions as brief as possible, and let's go over to this side. Let's start with this person here.
Good evening. I love the film. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Lola Davis as well. The Lola Davis exhibition at Bear Times. Yeah, so I'm kind of freaking out, but yeah, big fan.
Me too, so we're on the same.
Cool. I wanted to know, like, the navigating fear, but also stepping into your power to make this film. Like, what kind of things have you been able to kind of bring out and also feel empowered by? And what are you excited for?
Great questions. I'm going to answer the fear one, probably, because so originally we made this film with, it was a major Hollywood studio production, and I knew that the film was going to be different, and I was excited, as any first-time filmmaker would be, to make a movie, especially in that context. And for a long time in the process, I was, I think, looking to them and their feedback and their response for some type of validation, because what I wanted to do was technically what they did. And it was an awkward process, to be honest. Like, what I was making, as you are starting to see, as you saw, is just, I don't think they really knew how to respond, especially in the early stages of it. It was a very awkward process, and I'll never forget this. There's something called a friends and family screening that is planned, it's on the calendar. It's months into the edit process, and it's essentially a rough cut of the film. And we were still I have an editor friend here, we were in the selects phase, where we're just going through the footage and making selects. So the idea of a rough cut of the film was insane. And so what we did is we kind of did our best and put together, it was for me, it was unwatchable. Especially in the guise that what we were seeing in some version of the film. And I'll never forget, they watched the rough cut, and I just had my hands in my head the whole time, this is, how do I even begin to explain what they're watching? And they came out of it thinking that it was brilliant, some kind of masterpiece. And I remember being so, I had lost my rudder at that point, because I hadn't even started making the film in my head, and they were these people that I was looking to as to kind of, they were the ones to tell me what I was making was good or not. And for many, many, many months, because I had bought into their ideas of what I was making, it kind of was lost at sea, I'll be honest. And there was a moment, it got weird, of course, because I was, it became a paternalistic kind of relationship. I had to turn to Onye and my team and be like, I don't like what we're making anymore. And they were like, they said, you gotta make what you wanna make. And after that, it just got really, really weird. And they started to become less and less responsive, but I became more and more confident in what I was making. And it ultimately led to us parting ways, but I also am really proud of. So I don't know if that answered the question, but I was really lost for a second because I was thinking that somebody else was telling me what my voice was or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty awful. But in the way that there's the way of making movies, there's a certain structure, a certain system of making them, and that structure on the studio system is it doesn't really support creativity always. And so that was what our fight was just to kind of push back. And then they're all well-meaning people. They had schedules and they had budgets, and we went beyond. We were way beyond our editing schedule, so it was all understandable. But to just kind of put your foot down and say this is not what we want to release is the thing.
I also say your team is really important. If I didn't have Onye and my editors and the community of people that made it, I would imagine your average filmmaker first time would have been stuck in the middle phase that I was in and delivered the film that the studio said. Is unrecognizable. Yeah. I hope that answers the question.
I'm afraid we are going to have to end there, but before you all go, if you enjoyed the film, we have an audience award. You can go to the LFF website. Please do vote, and thank you so much, Kahlil.